exams next week and these kind of things. So we're going to be doing a little a topic here that I think many people wanted to do for a little while, which is the income statement. Right now, I don't know if anybody nobody here was with me last July, August, so we did it then too. But I like to do it over because, of course, it's a little bit of a trouble spot for some people because the way most teachers teach it is the way it was always taught, as in they give it this big long format and you just had to learn it. And the more questions you do, more you practice, the better you learn it. I don't agree with that particular thing, although that's how I learn it too. I like to break things apart into different pieces and build them back together. And when you break things into parts and see how they fit together, sometimes you understand better how things work. All right. So those of you in person would have a printed handout. We're going to be doing some of the questions on it because we started late, my fault, right? I have to skip some of the work, but I'll skip some of the easier stuff. As in, when I say skip, I'm not bypassing it totally, but instead of doing 3 exercises on something very easy, you might do 1 or 2, all right? And the other things later on, I have a little more detail. We might work all 3 or at least 2 of them. And anything we don't work, you could always just practice and revision, all right? So with that saying, here we go. So before we jump into, so again, you know the usual thing, right? So when we start class, I ask you a question. Why do people start a business? To make a profit, right? It's a very simple calculation for profit in regular maths. SP minus CP. What is SP? Selling price, and CP is cost price, right? That is what we're going with. What we are doing is we are selling goods that we have previously bought. So we are reselling goods, right? So we would have bought them for one price, and they're selling them for hopefully a higher price because you want to make a profit, right? Now, if we scroll down to, or you turn to this page here, right? So this is example 1, right? So just sales and purchases only. So it says Law Ali. So yeah, this is in your handout, probably, I think it says page 2, yeah. So as you open it, it's the first example right? So Law Ali started business on April 1st, 2018, and on that date, she purchased 5,000 worth of stock, right? By the end of the month, she had sold all her stock for 7,500. So you have to prepare the trading section of the income statement to show the calculation of her gross profit, right? So if she bought 5,000 worth of something and sold all for 7,500, do you think she made a profit or a loss? A profit. And how would you find out the value of the profit? Right. So you find the difference, 7,500 minus 5,000. So now we know how to do that in regular maths, perfectly fine. When we have to draw up financial statements, there's usually some sort of a statement format or a layout they want you to follow. Now, just for the record, even the accounting standards that govern, right, they're basically accounting law. The accounting standards that govern the financial statements say outright, this standard does not prescribe a format or a layout. It prescribes a minimum amount of information. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me Google that. IS1, not 16. Right. So this is not something you have to know into the finance of the what do you call it, the standards and that kind of stuff. Right. So hold on. Let's see if I find it for you. Oh, that's quite to the end. Hold on. Sorry, this is me being very nitpicky. Oh, that's that one there. Oh, hold on, where are we going? Sorry, just give me 1 sec. Every time I look for it, it's always be there. And now, of course, I can't find it now that I want to find it. Going concern, fair, components, objectives, scope. Okay, I'm basically back to the top, and I was looking for, so like a line to earlier, clearly. Anyhow, we'll come back to that, right? Okay, so there's no one right way to present the information. There are ways that are conventional that most people show you all, and that's how we're going to show you all too. So whenever you're doing a financial statement, you need to head it up properly, right? So how you head it up is the name of the entity. So it could be a sole trader, a person. It could be a company with a different name than the person who owns it, right? You put the name of the statement next. And I think these things are filled in for you on the thing there, right? And you put the period to which it applies. Now, most of the income statements you'll be drawing up in respect to past questions, exercises, will be for a full year. And please note that a year, a financial or reporting year, does not always or necessarily end on December 31st. It could end on the September June 30th, 31st of May, etc. So always pay attention to the dates given to you. Like here, this says April 1st, 2018, and it's just for the month, right? So 30th April 2018. Now, how do we present the information? What are we trying to present? Profit. What are the two components of profit? Revenue earned and expenditure incurred. And the expenditure incurred specifically in creating the revenue. So the revenue that we earned when we sold the stock was $7,500. The purchase of the stock is an expense. You spend money to buy stock. Agreed? So the money you spent was to buy stock. And what did we use the stock for? We sold it to make more money. So you created that revenue by incurring expenditure to buy the stock. Are we okay with that concept? So you use money to buy stock, and the stock you bought you sold. So the money you spent was used to make more money. So that's how we make money. By spending money, you make more money. Well, if you know how to do it correctly. All right. Right. So I'm just going to kind of make things appear on the screen here, right? And you all can fill them in your little handouts there, right? So the sales revenue is the first item. Now, the next thing we head up is less cost of goods sold. Now, another way you could phrase this is cost of sales, right? This phrase, cost of goods sold, sorry, one sec. Right? This literally here, this is the cost price item, right? So this is your cost price. It's literally the cost of the goods you have sold, right? So the sales revenue item, that is the selling price item. Now, you don't have to write SP and CP. That's just me being illustrative, right? So I'll be real for real. I went through 4 or 5 lower and upper 6, and probably most of you without realizing what these 4 words meant. To me, they could have been German, right? It's just something to write. But they have a meaning attached to it, and the meaning is actually not that hard to understand, but it was never explained to me. At least if it was, I didn't hear it, didn't understand it. So I had to realize it at some point in time. So I'm trying to point it out to you now so you don't go blind for the next how many ever years in accounts that you're doing accounts for, right? So the cost of goods sold is the cost price of the goods that was sold. And they're matching the cost price with the selling price. All right? Now, so the purchases, right? Now, you don't have to put brackets. Brackets are just how I put when I have negative items or things to subtract, right? So the purchases, right? That's the money you spent to buy the goods, right? Now, this heading here, this subheading, the less cost of goods sold, usually has a way more elaborate calculation. And we are going to build it out, right? I'm not going to start with the full calculation. I'm going to start with one piece and then add one piece at a time, which is how it makes sense to me and how, in my opinion, it makes sense to teach it, right? Right, so you have your purchases there, and that's basically it, right? So your purchases figure is the entirety of the cost of goods sold. So you bring that cost of goods sold under the sales revenue figure, all right? And you subtract 7,500 minus 5,000 is 2,500, and that's your gross profit, right? Now, so once again, what we are doing is we are taking the information given to us in the question. She bought or purchased 5,000 worth of stock and sold all of that stock for 7,500. So when you have to show the profit earned, you have to lay it out in a way similar to this. You show your revenue earned, and you're matching it with your costs, with the expenses incurred in creating the revenue, right? So your sales revenue was created by selling goods. And this item down here, that's the cost or the expenditure that created this particular item here. So that's why we are obeying something called the matching principle, right? The matching principle is a fundamental accounting assumption principle that says that to calculate profit for an entity, you have to match 2 things: the revenue you earn and the expenses incurred in creating the revenue. That's it, right? Which we know again from regular maths, selling price and cost price, right? Now, a lot of times people say, so how I know what to put what column, what figure in what column, right? So to me, the rightmost column has the least level of detail, but the most important figures, right? So if you're trying to find profit, it's selling price minus cost price. So as we scale it up, sales or sales revenue minus cost of sales or cost of goods sold. So those 2 things should go in this column. And of course, when you subtract, you're going to get your gross profit. Now, what is the meaning of gross? Why is it not just profit? Because we have other expenses we're going to include a bit later down the line, right? Those other expenses are called operating expenses. And those are literally the cost of operations, right? Your rent, your salaries, your insurance, delivery expenses, utilities, etc., right? Those things are not costs incurred in acquiring the goods. So that's why those costs, those expenses are listed separately. The expense up here, or the cost up here, is only the cost of the goods that were sold, right? So you have to match the revenue you earn from selling the goods with the cost of the good you sold. Okay. All right. Any questions? Anybody? Anything? No? Okay. Google Meet. If you guys are good with that, just kindly give me a G in the chat. If you need me to re-explain anything, give me an R, please and thanks. Okay. All right, cool. So while we're waiting on some more G's to come in, on the opposite page, you're going to see two questions, right? So you have you're in Egypt, commenced business, and he purchased goods worth 12,000 and sold them for 18. Sorry, 1 second. So please do that trading out for me. Hello? Uh-huh. From where you want it from? Huh? The hoagie. Okay, I'll see if it's available. Okay. Oh, oh. Okay. Oh, Lord. Mm-hmm. So, right. Okay, cool. Right. So, how many sandwiches am I ordering? So, chicken by three. I can't remember. Sorry. I don't know. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah. All right. So, of course, if anybody has any questions or you need me to re explain it, it's not a problem. Huh? Just let me know. Right? And you can use the example across on the left hand side to assist you. Right? So, here what I'll do, I'm actually going to I'll split the screen, right? So I'll put the example I have on the top here, and I'll put the question you're doing down here, right? So that's you're in Egypt. And if you catch you joking, let me know. Did I get? There might be one too, I don't know. Yo. Mm-hmm. That's no problem. Again, we now starting. Don't panic. Just make some mistakes and we learn from them. That's all. It costs you any money. It costing me none. So don't frighten. Right? And if you feel so inclined to do number two, by all means, but you don't have to, right? And there's a number two regular if you want, so which is Iman. 55 and 30 is 93. 93. Yeah, that's true. A pizza burger. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Anything going on here? No? Okay, that's great. Not a problem at all. Right, cool. So we're good there. All right, can I proceed with the solution for the first one? All right, cool. So of course we head up properly. We put in the name, you're on Egypt. Income statement, well, trading section only. Cool, right? Right, then we have, so just pardon my shorthand, EOM stands for end of month, right? That's not something you need to use. Right? Okay, cool. So let me actually, I'll pull this up so we can just see everything at the bottom, right? Right, so of course we start off with the sales revenue. The revenue earned, which is the 18,000, and we minus in the cost of the goods sold, right? We bought 12,000 worth, and we sold all 12,000. So this item here is the money we made from selling this much worth of goods. So we sold 12,000 worth of goods at a price of 18,000. So we bought it for 12, sold it for 18, so we made a profit of how much? Of 6,000. Very good. Right? Now, again, ideally, you're supposed to put a double line below here. Let me see if I can put it in real quick. Yeah, so you're supposed to put a double line below that to show that's the end of the statement, right? Okay, cool. All right, anybody did number 2? Okay, I'll do it real quick. Right, even if you didn't do it, you didn't have to. My instruction was only for number 1, right? But if you did it, cool. All right, so again, you head up properly, right? The name of the entity, the name of the statement, the period to which it applies, and some dollar signs. So with Iman, right, sales revenue is 38,000. Oh crap! Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Right, and of course you're subtracting the cost of that revenue, the cost of the goods that were sold, or cost of sales, right? Cost of sales is something else you can use, and that has been appearing a bit more often, and people didn't know. Even me, I didn't know. I was so accustomed with cost of goods sold. First time I was cost of sales. Like, what is cost of sales? And teacher was like, "How are you in Form 6?" Like, he says cost of goods sold. So okay, there was another word also called takings. And nobody knew what it was. He said, "What's takings?" He said, "Well, sure, this was in Form 6." Like, yeah, okay. Taken simply means sales. It's the cash you've taken in from making the sales. Okay, so we purchased 25,000 worth of goods, and we sold all. So we match that with the 38, and we get that. No. So hold on. Take that out. Boom. Yeah, cool. Right, so we have a couple. I'll zoom out a little bit so we can see both of them. All right, now again, it didn't have to do both. You only had to do one, which is number 1. All right, so in class, people, are we okay with what's on the screen there? All right, any questions, anybody, anything? If you have, it's not a problem, man. That's what we're here to. We're here to learn. We're here to ask questions if you don't understand something. This is not your school. I'm not going to both you. Right? Okay, Google Meet, just give me a quick G in the chat if you guys are good with that. And again, if you only did one, that's perfectly fine. Right? My instruction was only for one anyway, right? So, right? Of course, if you need me to re-explain anything, just give me an R. Right? And then if you could be very specific about what you want to re-explain, that would help. Tiana, fame over hype, BR. Okay, how are you doing, Tiana? Right, so that's 3 out of 7 people. That's less than half. So the next 4 could let me know what's going on. That'd be great. But I am going to scroll down just now to the next set of questions, right? Because now we're going to start complicating matters a little bit, right? Because of course, things are not always as straightforward as we would like. We have some relatively simple and straightforward, well, let's not say complications. Let's say, I don't want to use the word adjustments. Let's say the things that happen, right? For example, let's say you were in business. Do you think you would always sell out everything that you buy? Even doublesmen don't. Sometimes doublesmen have stuff left over, right? Oh, hold on, let me let in Janaya. All right. Hey, Janaya, good afternoon. How you doing? Good to have you on.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. I'm good.
So we're doing we started the income statement from scratch, right? We just explain how to do, and how I do it. I don't give the whole format at once, right? I build it out from two items, just sales and purchases, right? And now we're gonna add in a next item. Which subject? One second. This is PoA income statement. All right, cool. Okay, so we're going down now. Right, so we're going to introduce this thing called closing stock or ending inventory, right? So more often now, they call it ending inventory, right? So ending inventory or closing stock basically is, let's say you bought 10 items and you only sold 8. So if you bought 10, you sold it, you have 2 left, right? That's your ending inventory, right? So inventory and stock and merchandise and goods, they're all synonyms. They all mean the same thing. The thing you buy that you want to resell to earn your money and a profit eventually. One second. Yeah, sorry. Right. So here's the question, right? If I bought 2 pens at $10 each, how much money did I spend in total? 20. If I sold one of the pens for $15, how much money I made? So I spent 20, but I made 15. So didn't I make a loss of 5? Ah. Why? Because I only sold 1 pen. So I have one that is still unsold. Can I make a profit on something, a profit or a loss, if I haven't yet sold it? No, I have to sell it in order to make that profit or make the loss. Right, so until it's sold, it is still an asset. Very good. Right, so if I am trying to calculate my profit for a period and I have closing stock or ending inventory, I have to actually remove that value from the calculation, because if I didn't sell it, I cannot earn any revenue on it or any profit on it. So therefore, it should not be included in the cost of goods sold. So let me show you. Right? So Bing Nap Dingbat started business on February 1st, 2018 and purchased 35,000 of stock to resell. So he bought 35,000 of stock. At month end, he had 5,000 worth of stock remaining. So if you bought 35,000 worth of stock and you had 5,000 left, what's the value of stock you actually sold? 30. You bought 35 worth of stock and you have 5,000 left. So it means that's the 5,000 you didn't sell. So if you didn't sell 5 out of 35, the remaining 30 is what you actually sold. Make sense? All right. And he earned 42,000 in sales revenue. So that 42,000 was earned off of the 30,000 that was spent. Not the 35, because out of the 35, we didn't sell 5 yet. So you can't earn any money or any profit on what you didn't sell. All right. So in order to show this, so we head up as you name of the entity, name of the statement, period to which it applies. So sales revenue, less cost of goods sold. Right, so the purchases, and we're going to minus the closing stock or ending inventory, right? So when you minus the ending inventory, 35 minus 5 will give us what? 30. And that 30 is what you're matching with the 42. Because you only sold that much worth of goods. You only sold 30 out of the 35. So you can only make a profit on what you have sold. So the 30 here, how we got the 30 again? You took the value of 35, the value of the overall value of purchases, and you subtracted your closing stock or your ending inventory. Because if you still have it, you can't make a profit or loss on it. So you can't include it in the calculation profit. Hey, Tammy, afternoon, how you doing? Right, so your gross profit is actually 12. Let me just highlight this. All right, you good? All right. Oh, you're sleepy? You better? Yeah, you better. I hear you. Right, so this is the example, right? So as you can see, we only changed one thing. We simply changed the fact that now instead of selling out all of the stock we purchased, we didn't sell all, we have some left. So if you have the total you bought and what you have left, you simply subtract to find what you actually sold. Because what you bought, only 2 things happen. Either you sell it or you didn't sell it. I mean, yes, you could say some may have spoiled, some may have been stolen, some may have whatever. Right, they still didn't sell it, exactly, right? Okay, good. Okay, good, thank you. Right, lovely. Sorry, just checking some messages. Right, lovely. Okay, in class, people, have you any questions on what I did or how I did it? Or you feel okay with it? Okay, cool. Right, now again, I think I was talking about the use of the columns and I kind of got sidetracked, right? So again, the major calculations happen in the rightmost column. It has the least level of detail, but the quote-unquote most important figures. So if you're looking for the kind of summary figures in your income statement, look in the rightmost column, right? You'll get your sales revenue there, you get your cost of sales, and your gross profit, right? Oh, I think I was explaining. Okay, right. Now, any figure here that requires working, you'll shift one space to the left. Because what we don't want necessarily is we don't want one column with every single detail because that becomes a bit cumbersome to read, right? So what we do is this figure here required working, we shift one column to the left. And we do the working for that item and put it on the right. Long story short, right? Now you can do an income statement with one column, eh? That's not unheard of. And when they actually do publish financial statements, they do use a single column approach because what they do is they actually compare 2 years. They compare the year that they're currently talking about and the previous year, right? And each of them appears in a single column, right? But your you shift one, yeah, you shift, yeah, correct, yeah, that's correct. Right. So once you lay it out correctly, then you should be fine. Right? One column is fine, two columns is fine. I'm actually going to add a third column because we have some more stuff to add, right? Now, again, if you use two columns in school and you're comfortable with that, by all means, stick with your two columns. That's not a problem, right? My objective is not to force you to use a format. That's not my objective. It's to provide you with information you could use to do the question. Okay, Google Meet, just kindly give me a quick Genie chat if you're good with what's on the screen there, please and thanks. If, of course, anybody online has any questions, it's not a problem. Just let me know. Happy to answer your questions. All right, so I see Yuri saying he good. Might take the dog. Sorry, 1 second. I just forgot to pull up something. Right, cool. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to split the screen. No. Right, so I'm going to put this item on top here, right, and I'm going to scroll down to. So you have a couple of questions. You have where you gone and all right here, right? So if you could do both, cool. If you could do one, perfectly fine, right? So what I would like for you to do, please, is simply to do the income statement for at least where you gone, right? Now, given the fact that we have not just purchases, but the ending inventory or closing stock, right? In addition to, of course, the sales revenue. All right, so organize that here for me. If you have any questions, if you're not sure what to do, if you think you need some help, that's not a problem, just let me know. All right, so I've seen you read Jade and Sequoia. One, thank you. All right, no problem. Okay, that's there. This is here. Cool. Um, well, most likely next week. When is your exam? Okay, so most likely, what I like to do after income statements is balance sheets, right? Now, if you're also getting cash books and stuff, again, we could look into doing extra sessions with that. But again, yeah, that's fine. I also heard you say stock valuation and bank recs, right? So I don't know that I can cover all, but my channel has all of that already laid out for you. So you could always take a look and let me know. You could do some topics there and some with me into. Yeah, for sure. And again, as builder lives, I start with 3 items, but actually 2: assets and capital, right? Okay. How are you going, Joshua? Again, true? All right. I forget what I was going to ask you. Right, the topics in school is the same one as Shimo again, right? Because you're all in the same school, not necessarily the same class, right? Or you're in the same class. Okay. Okay. So who do you have? Teacher wise? I don't know anybody. Oh, was I asking about maths or? I name sound familiar. Okay, I know him. Okay, cool. And who you have? I know him too. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, cool. So I wanna organize this solution. Right, if it's still working, that's not a problem. Right, so let's go. So we have where you gone, income statement, end of month June 2016, right? And we'll put some dollar signs here. Boom, right. So of course we're gonna start with the sales revenue, and we're gonna say, okay, we're gonna subtract. We're gonna subtract the cost of goods sold, right? Or cost of sales. Cost of goods sold, cost of sales, either one is fine. Right, now we're going to start with the purchases because that's where it normally starts from. Actually, I had to take that back. Anyhow, that's what we started with. So we bought 22,000 worth of goods and we had 2,000 left at the end. So if you bought 22,000 and you have 2,000 left at the end, it means you sold how many? 20,000 worth. Right, so of course, so you sold 20,000 worth of goods. Sorry, my head blocking. My bad. Right. 20,000 worth of goods for $25,000. So you made a profit of how much? 5,000. Lost? Oh, okay. Right. So that's the gross profit for where you got. Anybody did all right here? Almost? Okay. I'll give you a minute or two again, right? All right. Page, I know how we go in there. You'll come in tomorrow for maths, right? All right. When is maths again? Huh? Yeah. So Wednesday for you and then next week. Okay, cool. So after tomorrow you're done with maths for a while. So you just be doing PoA. Yeah, no problem. That's fine. I have paper ones printed already because people didn't. Well, Miriam to do art math. I'll probably put Juliana like in our latest time to do the art math. Yo. Yeah. When is the POA exam? Not after right. So yeah. So your math is more immediate. So that's no problem. I might even have sessions this weekend again if all they want. Well, let me know. Right. I'll populate this one too. That's the 20th. That's the 19th. That's a Wednesday. Right. No problem. Right. So sales is 65 with this one here. Like, if it didn't do this one, it's not a problem. Just in case anybody got it. Right. And of course, you could always do it as practice. Right. So of course, less cost of sales or cost of goods sold. So you bought 50,000 worth of goods and you had 10,000 left after you sold. So clearly, you would have sold how many? 40,000 worth of goods. Right, and you're gonna match that. So you sold 40,000 worth of goods for a selling price of 65,000. So when you match 65 and the 40, you get 25,000 worth of profit. Sorry. My throat, oh boy. Flat esophagus. Okay, all right. Okay, so in class, people, are we all okay? Who was on the screen? Anybody have any questions? Anything? All right, Google Meet, just give me a quick Genie chat if you're all good with that, please, and thanks. Sorry, the mic on this side here. Sorry. If of course when you need to re-explain anything, it's not a problem. It's never know, right? Camera on. Camera on this time. Sorry, 1 second. Huh? Yep. You should see the rest of them in some of the other ones. Yo. They mean the same thing. Cost of sales and cost of goods mean the same. Okay, so now we're considering opening stock or ending inventory, right? Sorry, inventory at start. Hold on, I call it ending inventory just now. Yeah. So beginning inventory, I said so. Right, cool. Right, so Bendover started the month of August 2016 with 4,000. So of course, if you have stock left over the unless of course it's doubles, right? If you have stock left at the end of one day, you'll try and sell it the next day, right? So the closing stock from one period becomes the opening stock for the next period, right? And you might buy a little extra just in case you feel, for example, let's say you bought 1,000 items and you sold 900, now you have 100 left, right? If you figure, well, I might sell more now, you'll probably buy more. So usually what you do is, even if you have opening stock, if it's relatively small, you'll buy more, so you'll still have purchases, right? So during the month, his purchases total 56,000. And at the end of the month, 12,000 worth of stock remained unsold. So maybe he overshot a little bit, right? Because look at it, the closing stock is about 3 times the opening stock, eh? So it's like he had a little more left over this time. Anyhow, and he generated $65,000 worth of sales revenue during the month. Okay, prepare trading column. Okay, so Bendover, income statement, right. Okay, so we're going to start as per usual with the sales revenue, and we're going to head up less cost of goods sold or cost of sales. Now the beginning inventory, right, I'll put as beginning inventory, right, it's 4,000. So this is the one new item, right? Like I tell you, most times I just add one thing at a time until we have this. It's like Lego, right? You add one piece at a time. Right, so beginning inventory, and we're going to add the purchase. Oh, sorry. We're going to add the purchases figure. So when you add your beginning inventory to your purchases figure, the item you get after is called the cost of goods available for sale. Because it's literally the cost price of the goods that you have that you are going to make available to your customers for sale, right? Now, again, the joke with me is this phrase here, that could have been in Swedish. Didn't matter. I just learned it off. I had no clue what it meant. I just know, hey, to get that, you had to add these two things, right? I had the logic of the income statement was lost on me in form 4, 5, and 6, etc. The value. That's correct. The value of all of the stock you have available is worth. Right? Now, you have 12,000 worth of stock at the end of the month. Right? So that's your ending inventory, right? Right. Hold on, let me get some slightly heavier lines going here. Right. So 4 plus 56 is 60. Right? Now just by the way, the cost of goods available for sale does not have to be shown, eh? You could just do opening stock, sorry, beginning inventory, add purchases minus ending inventory. However, most textbooks will show you at this level to show the subtotal, right? But if you do show it, I don't find you should lose marks. Right? Now, when you take your 12 away from your 60, you're going to get 48. And that is the value of the goods you sold. That's the cost price of the goods you sold. So the 65,000 worth of revenue was generated from 48,000 worth of expenditure. So you're matching the expenditure incurred with the revenue that it created. And 65 minus 48, 70. Right. Cool. So again, all we did was we added one extra item on the top here that we added to purchases. Right. Again, the cost of goods available for sale is somewhat optional. Right? I would suggest you put it in because at this level, most teachers like to see it. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, guys, I'm just giving you a heads up. I ordered some food from my parents, so they might call me for directions. Right? So I do beg your indulgence. All right, in class people, are we okay with what beginning inventory is and what we do with it in the trading section here? Any questions? Anybody? Anything? Okay, all right, no problem. If you have, please let me know. All right, so Google Meet, my people. If you guys are good with that, give me a Genie chat. If you need me to re-explain, if you have any questions at all, please let me know. It's not a problem. Right? I want to make sure you understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. Right? Now, again, at the O level, they like a slightly higher level of detail. Right? If you do go up to the A level, the CAPE level, they will actually you could write out all of these things, but sometimes they'll ask you to actually summarize the income statement, which means less detail. But they still have to show your workings elsewhere. Right? But we're not there yet. We're quite away from there, right? At least about a year, about 14, 15 months away from there. So we haven't worry about that just yet. All right, cool. Wow. Okay, that's not good. Let's see if I can hear you now. Right. So whenever you're ready, you can turn to the next page or just look across to the next side of the page, right? And you'll see the exercise, right? So I think there's just, hold on, one second. I think there's just one. No, there are two? Okay, cool. So do at least one for me, right? If you could do just one, that's perfectly fine. If you could do both, not a problem. That's the weird, yeah. Uh-huh. Sorry? Me? Anemone? Anemone? Oh no, set three. Wait. Yeah? Oh, Mary Joanna? Yeah. That's his second favorite one. On every other you see Mary Jane. Mary Jane. Like, all right. So Mary. So instead of Mary, it's Marie. Marie Joanna. Right. So again, you could well, let me split the screen so we could keep the example on top. You can say opening stock is fine. It's not a problem. I kind of prefer because I kind of quote unquote grew up with that now. It's only more recently, last decade or so, they kind of shifting away from that to use opening inventory or inventory at start or these kind of things. So whichever one you use is perfectly fine once you understand that you can use different terms for it. So if they give you a different term, you know that it is the A, opening stock. Right. No, that's a good question. Thanks for asking that. Right. So, so when you have like less and you have add, right? To me, those are just reminders about what you're gonna do with the item, the figure, right? If you remember what you're doing, then that's perfectly fine, right? You don't have to. But as a matter of fact, that add in front of purchases will actually disappear in the next set of exercises because we're going to include something called carriage inwards, which is like deliveries. Like if we sit down here, like me, I order some food drop, right? But it's not just the price of the food you're paying for delivery and that's another thing too, right? So the delivery charge actually becomes part of the cost of whatever you are buying. So that's why it's included here. But I say this so the next set of stuff we're going to have three columns because the figure for purchases now has a calculation. It's purchases plus the carriage. But it also is optional because we don't have to have three columns. So I'll see if I can show you all the two column approach too. I think I'll just do a quick Excel spread. Correct. The information can be presented in different ways, and they all communicate the same thing. Sometimes it just comes down to personal preference, to be honest. All right. Yeah. I myself was kind of guilty of just doing things one way and insisting it was done one way, and then I I learned better and trying to do better because of that. That's what we could do. When you learn better, do better. If you don't learn it, you don't know it, you can't do it. Oh, Liam, I forgot to ask, boy, how was maths today, boy? How was the exam? Was all right?
Yeah, it was all right.
Okay, cool, cool. I know you haven't been to my maths for a little while. So even if you're doing maths somewhere else, or you're doing it on your own, or whatever the case is. But once you found it was good, that's cool. I'm glad to hear that. All right, so let me see if we can get the accounts to be the same way. Yeah, so I have a math tomorrow, 4 to 6. So I'll see if I can do a 6:30 to 8:30 for the anybody doing accounts. The fact it was any Wednesday. I'll tackle them, but I'll see if Ethan, James, Elijah. I think Elijah does PoA as well. That guy. So I take the tablet and now the other thing full. Ow. Right. And the curiosity boys, you all did not yet do adjustments for things like depreciation, provision for bad. Okay, well we do that in July, August. Because those are important to know how to do. We'll probably start up with control accounts the first week just to kind of get things rolling, then jump into some of the adjustments thereafter. Right. So during July, August, yeah, we do class 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. PoA is 10 to 12. If you're doing maths is 1 to 3. I have a hard maths class. It will either be half 3 to half 5, or I might have to push it to 4 to 6. I'm trying to see if Kayla could do the physics and the geography. She said yes. It's just to put it on the timetable in a place so that it doesn't clash. And that could probably minimize the number of days you spend here. I know most people who do physics also do hard maths, but not everybody, of course. So it might be geography, physics, but then that'll clash with the maths. You can, yeah. You can do beginning inventory, add purchases, minus ending inventory, and you get your cost of goods sold. It is more efficient to do that. Sorry, one second. I think my food reached. Cool. All right, I'm gonna do the first one. All right, if it's still working, it's not a problem. Do your thing. Right, so on money, income statement for the month ended 31st March 2017. There's some dollar signs going. Right, so we're going to start with the sales revenue of 24. All right, hey Claude, how you doing? Right, let's cost of sales. So we're going to start with the inventory at start or opening stock. We're going to add the purchases of 15. So 5 and 15 is 20. Right. So again, you could state your cost of goods available. You don't have to. You're going to then subtract the closing inventory. 20 minus 2 is 18. Right. And that 18 is the cost of sales or cost of goods sold. 18 from 24 will give us 6,000. Very good. All right. I'm just going to put in a couple of heavier lines here and here and here to show where my operations took place. My order has reached its destination. Sorry, one second. All right, guys. Sorry about that. Okay. All right. Anyone did the second one? Mary Joanna? Marie? No? All right, no problems. I'll give you a minute or so again if you need it. All right, but my Google Me people, if you guys are good with anonymity, just give me a quick Genie chat, please and thanks. If, of course, you have any questions, you need to rework or re-explain anything, that's not a problem, just let me know. Very happy to do so. All right. All right. Valentine, you okay with this one? All right, Shamo, Andrew, Sean, you guys good with that one? Yeah. Uh-huh. Right. That's correct. Right, but after that, you're subtracting the closing stock to get the cost of goods sold. Right? Right, so we'll do the heading here. Right, so the sales here was 42. Yeah, question? You had a question, Valentino? Oh, see your hand up now, sir. All right. Right, sales revenue. Right, so cost of sales or cost of goods sold. Right. So we're going to start with the inventory at start and add the purchases. Right, that's going to give us the costs. Now, I'll show you here, right? If you don't want to show that line, you don't have to. Right? You could simply jump straight to showing the less inventory. So 10 and 30 is 40, and 40 minus 5 is actually 35. And you could subtract that 35 from the 42. Right? So you could do something like that if you prefer. Again, it's perfectly fine to do so. Some teachers don't agree. So I suggest you do what your teacher who's correcting your work prefers. Right? Because you want to go and do fanciness for them and they're like, where's this? Because I've had that happen. I've had students come here, understand things, work them very well, and go into school and teach a big red X. This is not supposed to go here. I'm like, so you teach me the wrong thing? Like, I guarantee you, I don't teach people the wrong thing once I know. Okay, just if you go in the exam and the term and get not a good mark, just make sure you tell them, hey, you do your thing. I put my disclaimer. All right. Okay. But yeah, I understand because I think the person correcting their work in school is not going to be the person correcting their work on the exam. All right. Okay. So folks, now we're going to talk about something called carriage inwards. Right. So we had an example of that just now with the food that was brought to me. Right. So most of us here have had experience with ordering food or food for delivery. Right. If you go to KFC and you spend your 50, you can get your cruncher special or whatever the case is. Right. If you stay home and you order it, you have to pay 25 extra. So instead of paying 50, you have to pay 75. And that's how much you had to pay. Right? If you pay online credit card, you pay cash, that's how much you had to pay. So whatever you have to pay to get that item to you is part of the cost. For example, anybody here ever order off of Amazon or any online site? Right. So let me say, when in the pandemic, when I discovered I could order used books, because I have plenty of books I wanted, but it's like 25 US. When I said I had used books for like 99 cents, I literally bought 100. And here the thing. So these two laptops you see in here, I bought those around the same time too, but I did not know. So hold on. That's not. I'll get a question. I'll read the question. Okay. Okay. Taking forever to come, right? Which is the best way to remember which accounts to add, to subtract and add? I'm not sure. Are you talking about what's going on the screen? Just let me know. Right? I don't want to call your name in case you don't want me to call your name. Right. Right. So this laptop and this laptop together costs, well, about 4,200 US. But I didn't know it had a US spending limit on your credit card at a cutoff time now. So I hit my limit, and then all my stuff hit the skybox, and the skybox couldn't charge your credit card because the US limit was reached. So for like 3 weeks, my books keep coming. And then when the month resets, I'm a limit reset, everything sent. So I go on to pick up my stuff in the skybox now, and they come with a trolley, and they watch me. So you open a bookstore? I'm like, not exactly, but yes. Right? Anyhow, so long story short, part of what you have to pay is not just the price on Amazon or whatever site you buy from, right? You had to pay for the shipping from the skybox, and when it comes in, you had to pay customs and VAT and the online purchase tax and whatever else they charge you, right? All that stuff is part of the cost. I'll give you an next example, right? You all ever went on TikTok and saw the hashtag TikTok maybe buy it? Right. So it had some pens that had won the Japanese Stationery Award. Now the price of the pens wasn't that bad. So in total, I pay. So it was 8 of those pens and a next packet of 12 that I bought. Yeah. Yeah. So this one has the fine point. This one has the extra fine point. Yeah. So in all, I paid like 300 TT for the pens, right? But then to clear it was the next 300 TT. So I paid double the price in total. I was like, why? But at the end of the day, I had to pay it to get the asset to me, right? So that's just long story short. Any cost you have to pay to acquire something, not just the list price, but delivery, extra charges, all those things form part of the cost, right? Hold on, let me see. Okay. Right. So to answer the question, right. So there were actually 2 more. It was 8, right? I think this batch of 8 was 50. I could check. Oh no. In total, I paid 300 US. Sorry, 300 TT, right? No. So it was this, and I have an X. Where's the other one, boy? Please, you take my pens out. Oh no, we're gonna here. Yeah. This is the next batch. Right? So in all for and this is how many inside of here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 14. So 14 and 8, right? So I pay. Yeah. We were fighting. Anyhow, yeah. So right, I paid 300 TT for this. And then to clear it, I paid an extra 300 TT. So, yeah, I don't know. I was like, and this mic came the same time. This mic alone was about 120 US, right? Or 140 or something. I had no charges to pay on it. None. But pens? Me, I know. But I'm not complaining that I had nothing to pay on this. Just like $22 to pay the company. But no. It's not. I think they're using this as like computer accessories, and for computer stuff, it have like a 0 rated because they want people to be able to afford it now. Right? Anyhow, sorry. I skylaping here. Let me see if I just answer this question real quick. Okay, so you're talking specifically about the stuff we're doing now, or you're talking about accruals and prepayments? I'm just trying to understand the question before I answer it. But hold on, let me do what I'm doing here first, right? And you could format your question, right? And I'll check it back. Right. So example 4, we have carriage inwards. So long story short, carriage inwards is the delivery charge you have to pay to get the goods to you. So you have to add it on to your purchases as part of the cost. So ham sandwich, right, started April 2016 with 6,100 in stock as the opening stock. During the month, his purchases totaled 27,700, on which he also incurred delivery charges of $700. At the end of the month, 8,100 worth of goods remained unsold, and he had earned 65,900 worth of sales revenue. Okay. Prepare the trading account to show the calculation of gross profit or gross profit. Okay. One thing at a time. So you head up, ham sandwich, income statement, right? For the month. Right. So we're going to start with the sales. 65.9. Okay, cool. And then we're going to have less cost of sales. So you're going to start with your opening inventory, right? Your 6,100 from on top here. Now, check it. I have an extra column. What am I going to do with that? Well, remember, now I have purchases, which was 27.7, on which I have to pay delivery charges of 700. So that working has to come here. And you're going to shift across this item, the subtotal across there, right? So this item is the new item in the dance. Right? Now, again, just to show you, if you want, you could keep it both in this column here. Right? You can just add and subtract going straight down, or just add actually, right? But because there's going to be one extra thing in the final set of stuff, which is the next thing we're going to be doing, right? I usually show a third column, but again, you don't have to. It's optional. Right, now, this item here is it's a purchase. There's no label necessary here, right? But we add it to the opening stock to give us the cost of goods available for sale. Right. God favored me, Dramo. Thanks for sharing the live. Appreciate it. Poe's mystery novel. Hey, that's a big name, boy. Have you ever read The Raven? Right, so once again, we have the opening stock, and then we had purchases plus the carriage in, which gave us this new figure here, right? But again, if you prefer, you could pull these across here, right? And you could even get rid of that line there. So you could just do this plus this equal to that, right? If it'll like shifting stuff to the left anymore, right? So again, just showing you some options. And all we do from here is you take your closing stock, which is the 8,100 worth of goods remaining unsold. Oops, sorry. Right? You subtract it from the 34.5 to give you your cost of goods sold. And then you're subtracting that 26.4 from on top there. Right, so 26.4 from that is what? 39.5. Yeah. Cool. As you can see, all I've done is on top of whatever we just did before, right before this, I just included one extra item. All right. Oh, you tried them out? Yeah. This one is extra fine, and that one is fine. I prefer medium, but I tried writing with them recently, and they actually write pretty well. Once I take my time, I was using them to fill out the AdMath solution from this year. What? Inactivity. What are you talking about? No, I'm good. What inactivity? Are they confused? Oh. 1 second. I'm trying to close back my bag. Okay, so here's my question. Do any of you have any questions on what's on the screen currently? Uh-huh. Okay, right. So now I understand your question a lot better. Okay, cool. Let's just give me a sec. I'm gonna scroll along so you could see the question to do. Or is it fill in the example? All right, cool. So take your time. I was wondering. Yeah. Okay. So I'm scrolling down. All right. Right. So we're gonna do this one question, and then we're gonna go to the last section, right? Because yeah, if we had the half an hour, we'd have been able to do two questions here, but we don't. And I want to make sure that you at least see the last bit of things we have to add on here, right? Now, even if you get to do one question each, when we come back on Wednesday, we'll pick up from here, right? We'll do this one as a warm up and then go to the next section. That's not a problem. Right, so this is Amaya Nijat income statement for the month ended 30th April 2018. So you have your 5 items here. So you want the gross profit using the information. Yeah, you know what? I think I'll see if we can do two questions from here. I won't rush down the last thing because we have class Wednesday. Anybody wouldn't be here Wednesday because PoA will be done already? No? Okay, cool. Right. No, your PoA exam is Wednesday. Comment? Okay, cool. No problem. What? On Friday, Diego Martin is celebrating its first anniversary Borrow Day, boy. Celebration of culture. Hey, Tyra, how you doing? Military parade and cultural showcase and expo. Entry is free. Commences from Crystal Stream Road, ends at Westfield Park. Artisans Market opens at 12 p.m. Borrow Day. They go Martin borrowed it. Yeah. What is borrow thing now? When you borrow, you gotta get back. Cultural Showcase and Expo. Friday, June the 13th. Okay. Right. So again, if you have any questions as to what you're doing or how to do something, let me know. It's not a problem, right? Oh, I was supposed to do that, but I did not. I should have had it out. Right, so I'll give it a couple minutes again. Oh, like we ready? All right, sorry about that. Okay, we're going again. So, right, we started with sales revenue of 60. Going here. Right, of course, less cost of goods sold. Cool. So now we have to add, sorry, we're going to start with the opening inventory of 2,000. The purchases has 44, carriage in is 1, which means the total value of purchase is 45. 2 plus 45 is 47. You're going to subtract the inventory at end of 7 from that. That's going to give us 40,000, which is the cost of goods sold. That's going to be subtracted from the 60. Right, and then 40 from 60 will of course give us 20,000, and that's your gross profit. All right, so again, if you prefer, you could pull this across here. You could do away with that figure, but then no, sorry, not that figure. Yeah, that figure itself. And it's 47 minus 7 is 40. And you can even get rid of that figure too, and just do 2 plus 44 plus 1 minus 7 is 40. But again, I suggest you show some detail in your work in here. Right. Okay. In class, people, are we okay with the 20,000? All right, Google Meet, just give me a quick G in the chat if you're good with that. All right, if you need me to re-explain it, that's not a problem, let me know. Okay, cool. All right, we'll do one more, the next question, and then call it an evening. There's a third question too, but we could hold off on that. All right, when we come back on Wednesday, we'll do the last section where we have the returns in and returns out, or sales returns and purchases returns. And I might pull some, the past paper questions will probably all have adjustment. Actually, no, we could just do the trading section. We could do that. Right, yeah. So that would be Wednesday. Okay, cool, yeah. And then we could arrange, we could, in the chat, I will message about if I'm having extra sessions late in the week on the weekend. For those who may want to put in some extra work before their exams hit. Right, again, they'll be purely optional. They won't be mandatory. To show you have other things to study for, but if you want to come, it's not a problem, right? Including my Google Meet people. Of course, it's online if you all want it, not a problem. All right, so we'll just do this last one here. You'll do number 2 ready too? All right, so let's do number 2. We'll correct that, call that George, and then we'll go on from there. What I might do after number 2 is I might show you all the final example, and then we'll do it again on Wednesday. Yo. Wilma head boss? Yeah. Wilma. Sorry. Um, I thought I did. 5:55. All right. Hey Tony L, how you doing? Hey Chloe, afternoon. How are you? All right, so I'll give her a couple minutes again, and then I'll fill in the blanks here, and then we'll call it a day. Hey Samara, how you doing? Please do Math 2024 paper one. Paper one? I think I have the solutions already. Not the ones I didn't prepare it. Cool. How are you? All right, so let's start populating this in case we have any questions. You're missing lessons for sure? Yeah, I hear you, girl. I hear you. All right, using the information table on your left, prepare the trading section of the income statement of Wilmer Head Boss. Right. Hey Asher, afternoon, how you doing? I don't want emotes, I just want to type. Right, let's go. Sorry. Right, so sales revenue is 50,000. Cost of sales, have a calculation. So we start with the opening inventory of 5. The purchases had a delivery charge of 3. So we add those two to get the total purchases charge of 35. 5 on the 35 gives us 40, from which we subtract the inventory at end of 10 to give us 30,000 cost of goods sold, which we're going to match against the revenue we earned. So my head lock in there. No, I'm good. Okay, cool. So your gross profit is 20,000. Let me just put in some lines here to help separate the, what you call it, totals and subtotals to show where some workings took place now. All right. Okay. Yeah. All right. Before we pack up, are we okay with this one here? Any question? Any problem? Anybody? Anything? Joshua and Shamo, you all good with that one? All right. Valentine, we cool there? All right. AJ, well, you awake? Are you okay with that one? Okay, no problem. All right. Google Meet. If you guys are good with that, just kindly give me a G in the chat. If you need me to re-explain anything, that's not a problem. Give me an R. Okay, cool. All right, so folks, right. So I know, I think Fatima has the PoA on Wednesday, right? So I'll see if I could host an extra session tomorrow evening. I'll put it in the chat. Apart from that, I'll see if I can work on some extra sessions later on this week because I know some of you will have exams. Well, PoA exam soon, as in next week and that kind of stuff, right? So I'll see if I can get that stuff done for you all. So look out in the chat for it, right? And of course, you can send your topics and these things. And you guys, that's about it for today. I'll send a link to the replay and a PDF of what we did. Apart from that, have a good evening. I'll see you all next time. Bye.
Hi, sir.
All right, bye bye. All right, hold on. Let me see what's loose in here. Uh huh. All right, cool. All right, Asha. Asha, I have to log off. Because I have to get some dinner before my next class and carry my son home and thing. What you can do, Asha? Email me now. Oh, they're gone. All right, I'll see you all there. Well, tomorrow for maths. All right, cool. Yeah. So email me now. Let's have a discussion on what went on, what you understand, what you don't understand, and see if I can help. Right? Michi was the CSEC accounts paper to scrap. The examining body has said nothing. If they said nothing by now, then nothing is going on with it. As in, I highly doubt they're going to scrap anything. Right? The exam season practically over as well. So that's a whole 4 weeks ago, almost 5 weeks ago. They should have said something by now. So that was just papi show. They ain't doing nothing.